Hello, greetings to you. I'm Pooja Bothra from ETHR World, and I welcome you to the Talent Mindset, hashtag Talent in Talks. As you know, LinkedIn Talent Solutions and the Economic Times HR World have co-curated this string of dialogues. In the era of building a more definitive future, talent has emerged as a driving force for a competitive edge and an impetus to design a new and modern talent philosophy. With insights from leading leaders in the field, this dialogue will delve into the ongoing revolution in the talent management space. In just a few seconds from now, we will invite the speakers to help you unlock the potential of talent in the future of work. So get ready, folks, to meet decision makers from the industry and stack actionable insights. Join me in welcoming none other than Colonel Alok Kumar Das, Chief People Officer, Brinton Pharmaceuticals, and Jyoti Dadlani, Regional Head, West India, LinkedIn Talent Solutions. Thank you for joining us. Have a great dialogue. Over to you, Jyoti.
Thank you, Pooja.
Thank you, Pooja.
Well, Alok, thank you for the time today again.
Thank you for inviting me. Yeah.
My first question to you is, when you think about talent mindset, what are the top three things that come to your mind?
I'll just start very quickly with the talent word and the mindset word. When you talk about talent, what is talent? It's nothing but the ability and expertise and the skills that one is required to have to function in the responsibility which is aligned to the organizational objective. But when we talk about mindset, there's a larger thing. Fine. Mindset is something that is, your mind is wired properly. So therefore, when you talk about, mindset of the organization, the mind of the organization should be wired in such a way that create that culture of talent mindset. And when you say create a culture, that includes attracting, that includes developing, and that includes retaining part of it. Fine. With this as a background, I would specifically focus on three important words. Though this is not a comprehensive list of talent mindset, and this is not in isolation, this is basically interwoven, but still three important things that I focus. One is called development part, learning and development part. Whether you hire people from outside or you already have people inside you, if the mindset is not there to develop them, if the mindset is there, oh, they're ready made available to you and then they'll function to their full potential, that's not going to work. Even though the best of expertise coming from different industries and different organization to organization would require certain time to adapt and learn this business model. The second word when I talk about is more of a promoting the innovation culture. Fine. Why? Because in today's world, where large number of talent, they are generally safe and secured because of this parents' hard work. Now, what they require basically their views to be heard. They're so innovative that they can create anything, and they're tempted to do that. So unless you create that innovation mindset, the feeling is that I'm not heard, or maybe my expertise are not respected. And the moment you create something, that means when the experimentation and are encouraged, you're bound to experiment, you're bound to kind of take on a number of steps. Even though you fail, a lot of learning happens not only for the individual, but anyone associated around it actually. And with that as a growth, that takes place of an individual over a period of time. So my third word is basically a growth mindset. When I say growth mindset, that means how individual is growing within the organization. Everybody wants to grow. Fine, whether it's a horizontal growth or vertical growth, that's a separate matter. But then everybody wants to grow. Everything put together is a culture, the larger word. Culture is not dependent on one. And that's how I think my 3 cents on this, right? 3 words.
That's great. I think bringing the aspect of learning and development, innovation, growth mindset, I think that's perfect to summarize the talent mindset. How do you see the approach to talent mindset evolve, as organizations mature in digitalization?
So when you talk about digitalization, see, it's a journey. It's not a one-day job, right? And when you talk about growth, when you talk about employee experience, when you talk about many other things, it's a journey from the first stage to the last stage. Every stage itself is an experience and growth for an individual. For example, the organization which is in the progressive stage, the first thing is about the digital awareness. In this awareness, basically, every employee is exposed to the various potential digital capabilities. The second stage comes as basically an integration stage, where now, as an organization or an individual, I can figure out that, okay, these are the certain areas I can explore. Now, how to integrate that in either in the day-to-day practice, or in the processes, or in the policies, or in the business model. Now then comes, once the integration takes place, then comes a transformative stage. Now integration is done, people started using it. Now let's say as an individual, I was completely manually dependent on many things. Now I use it. In a click of button, I see that, okay, analytics is right in front of me. And what is analytics? Right analytics is right in front of me. So it gives me a better decision making. And thereafter comes the fully optimization stage. Now, this is where I feel completely. I have many technologies. Now I wanted to see, oh, which are the five best which is there for me, and can I integrate more? To, five different processes. Can I make it one by using? And then I start innovating on my own. So this journey of digitalization, when you put at the forefront of this, the organization growth, every single person associated with this growth journey almost get benefited.
What are the critical features of your talent strategy that help you stay ahead of the curve?
See, firstly, when I say critical features of talent strategy, there are many talent strategies which is there. But then the first thing first is that recruitment, start from the recruitment and talent acquisition. And it is more for targeted marketing. We cannot simply pick up a person just because he has this and that. It's more for targeted, what do we actually require, from where we can get it actually, and things like that. So that is one part of of a strategy that I can talk about. The second thing I talk about the flexibility part. Right, nowadays employee wants a flexible work options actually. Third is I would talk about it's more of a analytics based decision. Fine, so talent analytics I'm talking about. And if we integrate the concept of talent analytics specifically, it helps us a lot. And that is where probably I'm also looking forward, because I was exposed to LinkedIn at one point in time about various talent analytics on the LinkedIn platform. But other than that, when I talked about state of mind, that is a tool that Brinton using to capture the emotions of a person, that also gives me a lot of insight in that. So these are the something which is, I would say, keeping this organization ahead of the competitors. Of course, data-driven decisions, internal succession planning, and during the succession planning, what are the different capabilities to be developed? You have to develop those people, in fact, identify those people. So these are certain things that as a part of our strategy as of now.
Yeah, it's great to see the detailed and the level of going from TA and making sure you attract the right talent, thinking about what candidates want, the focus on culture, and also I think analytics based decision. And I know you brought up LinkedIn, and we have the largest supply and demand of skills, so it's great to see how we can continue to integrate some of that. But I think it touched everything. So
Correct.
currently, we're in very early stages of the largest technological transformation of the last 100 years, which is Gen AI. And
Correct.
I'm sure that brings a lot of, not hundreds, but probably thousands of variables, criterias on basis which you want to make decisions. So in this AI era, new technologies definitely enable HR to enhance decision making. So how are you applying some of this data science in developing these human capabilities?
It's very interesting, I will tell you. And why it is interesting, because most of our workforce, whenever they talk about it, they subscribe to this concept. They look forward to, and this is not limited to HR, I can tell you, this is across the organization. As and when we talk about it, there are folks looking forward to be a part of it actually. And therefore, in terms of latest, you can say the transformative stage that, specifically the technological transformation I'm talking about. First thing that Brinton does specifically, we have BRIDA, which you talked about, Brinton Research Institute of Artificial Intelligence and Robotics. That is one institution that we have. It is within Brinton, and this is a part of Brinton Academy. Now, this is specifically created to to give a good exposure to all its employees. Let me tell you that last year, first time when we talked about this AI, our almost 90+% workforce, they subscribed to the 5 days training program for it. And it was a basic AI awareness. It was not specific, it was basic. That was the subscription that had within the organization. Over a period of time, now we streamlined it even more under this. So far as the HR is concerned, so we need to talk about employee experience and employee well-being. We integrated a tool which I just mentioned somewhere, the state of mind tool, right? This is something which captures the emotions and the sentiment, the mood of a person on daily basis. It is just based on certain responses. On daily basis, individual logs onto the iPad because large number of our workforce is on iPad. Not large, all of them, they're on iPad. They simply respond to certain prompt, and then we get to see what is his mood today. Now, from the HR standpoint, the potential attritions that we can have, because based on the complete analytics that we get, we quickly see that which part is not engaged or which individual is not engaged, or maybe we can rightly see that who are the promoters of the organization, who are the detractors of the organization, who are the passive people in the organization. The moment we have detractors, we find out the reasons absolutely, and it helps largely in terms of controlling the attrition part of it. And attrition, when I'm talking about, it's a field force attrition here. Also, it is applicable to the corporate houses, right? See, when we go to the LinkedIn part, in fact, number of sometimes we get the analytics out of it, and we get a lot of insights, right? And when you get an insight, that is used for HR recruitment purpose, right? That is done. When you talk about attrition, that's a larger part. So predictive analysis comes into place. And in terms of predictive attrition analysis, that's a very important pick because that directly somehow, every attrition is a cost to the organization. Now, how it is a cost to the organization, where it is cost, if you can somehow predict it, you can save a lot of money to the organization. And largely, we've been using this predictive part of it. Fine. So the different thing, and in continuation learning in LMS that we're using, and in that LMS also we have certain AI based thing that is getting included. So likewise, there are a lot of things not only to HR. I spoke about HR, but I again reiterate, it's not limited to HR. As the learning part, probably it is spread over the organization.
Yeah. No, that's great to see the holistic view, but it's also good to see predictability and probably a live screening for you of attrition, engagement, promotion. This is extremely interesting and unimaginable a couple of years ago. So it's great to see you have a live monitor of all of that and how Gen AI has made it predictable. How are you building future skills and designing robust career paths for the workforce in this fast evolving sector? So I know there's a lot of focus on making sure you retain employees, and you're also investing in them from an upskilling perspective. But how are you continuing to build future skills and designing robust career paths for them?
So this sector, this is a pharmaceutical sector,
Yeah.
and we are new in this industry, 10 years old, but then at the same time we have our competitors which are 50, 60 years old. Of course, there's a competition, and when we are growing progressively, and when we have a large vision to grow, we have to be competitively ahead. Right?
Yeah.
Now, in this scenario, actually, if you look at it, we take help of certain agencies, for example, IQVIA, for example, SMSRC. They give us a competitive data. Now, making use of data in terms of product, in terms of what do you say, therapies, in terms of formulations, everything, we see where we are actually, which is the area that is, we are lagging actually, and which is the area where we are ahead of. And we do a complete analysis with the help of these external agencies as well. Also, we have internal mindset, internal talents. They analyze completely. And when we figure it out, when we do some kind of competitive analysis, and we figure out that, okay, what are the different areas where our talent needs to be, kind of given more skills, that their skills needs to be redefined probably. So that's where we have our learning and development program in place. And that helps. So it's a continuous learning and development, which is very important. Second, we also have this cross-functional exposure.
Yeah.
When I say cross-functional exposure, because last year, if I can tell you, uh, we had a kind of project, and we undertook around 17, 18 different projects where the cross-functional teams put together were a part of one project, and everyone was exposed not only within that area but in the others area of responsibility. That increased collaboration. Mostly that increased the learning for each other. And of course, with the learning, when the people from cross-functional domain, they come together, the empathy also they feel it actually, fine. Uh, Most important part, when the cross-functional team, they became a part of common project, they were in the common objective, and here we started with customization, standardization, and finally ended with the digitalization part. We could actually figure out of these projects, which was more related to internal processes, and we had identified the themes. For example, if it is sales, if it is HR, it is something else, right? So which are the different digitalization possibilities and capabilities? We either have it or we need to have it actually. So we identified cross-functional learning happen, empathy and collaboration, and all sort of things that also got into. But finally, we came to a conclusion that okay, this is something that is very important. This digitalization, we need to have it.
How are you tying this? Like, it's great to see all the work happening from an upskilling perspective, cross-functional exposure, but how are you really tying this to career paths? Because the objective is to increase average tenure, right, which continues to decrease. So how are you tying some of this upskilling and some of the great work you're doing from a cross-functional exposure to specific career paths and outcomes?
Anybody joining Brinton, the day when he's onboarded, after basic induction and onboarding, if he clicks onto his or logs onto his ID and password, he would exactly see what is the career path defined for him. For example, 3 months down the line, what he's supposed to do, what skill he's supposed to have. At the same time, for these skills, what the training program he's supposed to undergo. 6 months down the line, he understands that I have to undergo this, and these all are mandatory.
Sure.
There's nothing that nobody can escape it. Also, these are factored in the performance management system. That means for a yearly appraisal, when you talk about which everybody looks forward to, we had different parameters. One of the parameters is the learning and development parameter. So made it so mandatory. And this is a mindset that I begin by telling that mindset, because it cannot come through unless the mindset of the leader is like that. Fine. So that's what. So he gets a completely roadmap of his career progression right from first day to last day. Also, we have internal talent, like promoting the internal talent. So we have called BLAB, something called a Brinton Leadership Assessment Board, which evaluates internal talent time and again. So process, everything is defined. And after evaluating the internal talent, when we find that somebody is fit, he's promoted, somebody is not fit, for example, then what are the areas where he needs more attention? And then these become specific training program and developmental program for him. We put him in the next program, and that's how we progress it. So in one word, it's just like a complete career roadmap is made, which is visible to every single individual joining Brinton at the moment.
Thank you for sharing. I know you said it's only 10 years old, but it feels like there's so much that you're doing already from that learning mindset and, prioritizing. So, and tying it to the career outcomes, I think that's great. Since from the time someone joins, they know exactly what they're focusing on. And it's sort of, it ties to their career beautifully. So thank you so much for sharing, Colonel Alok.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting. It's really immense. Even in fact, learning for me talking to you and sharing my viewpoints on this platform.
Thank you, Jyoti and Alok. This has been an incredibly insightful and engaging conversation. The power of virtual conversations is phenomenal. It helps us to stay connected, share, and learn from each other. So, folks, I hope you've gained valuable insights and inspiration from this discussion. Let's keep the learning lamp burning by staying inquisitive and questioning the status quo. Thank you for joining us today, and feel free to reach out to any of our speakers or myself if you have any further questions or want to continue this discussion. Until then, goodbye.